President Joe Biden visited a Philadelphia elementary school Friday afternoon, and even delivered some dating advice to a classroom of third graders. "I want you girls to remember, no serious guys till you're 30, Biden joked to a classroom of masked pupils. The school district of Philadelphia lifted its mask mandate on Wednesday, making the wearing of masks optional, but the children surrounding the president Friday all had their faces covered. Biden paid a visit Friday to the Luis Muñoz Marin Elementary School to highlight how money was used from the American Rescue Plan on the law's one-year anniversary. In total, $1.1 billion from the bill's Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund went to the School District of Philadelphia. Biden heard from a female third grader that she preferred in-person learning, because doing school by computer was hard and she missed hugging her classmates. "Makes a big difference as being in school, doesn't it?" the president replied. 9-year-old Mia Perea handed Biden a drawing, which showed a gray-haired president in a gray suit. He then suggested to the female students that they should wait to date for another 20-plus years. The president told Perea that his sister, Valerie, was his best friend. She agreed that siblings are nice, but complained that her brother stole her donuts. "Now, that's getting serious," Biden remarked. Earlier, Biden delivered a speech at the House Democratic Caucus Issues Conference, warning House Democrats that he'll have far less power next year if they lose Congress. "This off-year election, in my view, may be the most important off-year election in modern history. Because we know what happens, we know the fundamental change that shifts if we lose the House and Senate," Biden told House Democrats. "The only thing he'll have then is a veto pen." Precedent and polling make Republicans look poised to take back control of the House, and possibly the Senate too, with Democrats already only holding on to a razor-thin majority. Biden used his appearance in Pennsylvania to lay out his latest thinking on the Ukraine-Russia conflict, defend his record and swat away some recent Republican attacks, including the blame the GOP has assigned to him for the high gas prices and inflation. "I'm sick of this stuff," he told the crowd. "We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is the government spending more money, simply not true." The president even brought props along, holding up a stack of printed news clips, which contained favorable headlines. "Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin," Biden said. "High gas prices too," he suggested. "I love Republicans saying Biden's going to stop the Keystone Pipeline. And I did. And that's the reason prices went up." "Folks, let's get something straight here, the Keystone Pipeline was 2 years away and had been 2% finished," he continued. "Give me a break," the president said. He then showed off the stack of clippings, reading a New York Times headline that said Republicans wrongly blamed Biden for rising gas prices. He also talked up the Washington Post op-ed from Dana Milbank, which contained a similar message. Biden called out oil and gas companies, saying that there are 7,000 permits available to them. "Why aren't they out pumping oil? Why aren't they out pumping oil?" he asked. "What's happened? Well, the oil companies and executives, they don't want to pump more oil, although they have every capacity to do so. Nothing is slowing them up from doing it if they want to," he said. "Why? Rather than spend the profits from the increased price of gasoline, they would rather take those profits and buy back stock," Biden said. rather than take that money and invest it in pumping new oil. Not a joke, not a joke. The president was open about where has held different views than parts of his party, especially the progressive wing. Referencing the 2020 election, he talked about how though we had to unify the country, which a lot of you didn't like, he said as an aside. When talking about the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Biden admitted, "I know I've occasionally frustrated you," explaining that Hess often waited for other NATO nations to get on board before announcing retaliatory actions against Moscow. But more important than us moving when we want to is making sure all of NATO is together. They have different vulnerabilities than we do, Biden explained. Earlier Friday, Biden announced the U.S. was revoking Russia's most favored nation trading status, which had support in Congress before the White House officially got on board. Biden joked that the delay drove her crazy, speaking about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Biden labeled the move today a crushing blow to the Russian economy, as the U.S. as its allies make up half the global economy. Along with our partners and allies, we stepped up pressure on corrupt Russian billionaires, the president continued, pointing to yacht seizures, among other moves. "You see some of these yachts?" he marveled. 450 feet long, serious, hundreds of millions of dollars in value. "The totality of our economic sanctions and export controls are crushing the Russian economy," Biden said. "The ruble has lost more than half its value. You know what the value of a ruble is versus a dollar? You'd need 200 rubles to equal $1 today." 200. Biden said the Moscow Stock Exchange was closed for a simple reason. "Because the moment it opens it will be disbanded. You hear me? It will blow up," the president said. Credit rating agencies have downgraded Russia's government to junk status. Biden said the U.S. would make sure Ukraine would have the weapons the country needs, and Ukrainian refugees would be welcome in the United States. "Although we will not fight the Third World War in Ukraine," Biden warned. "The idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and trains and tanks going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say, that's called World War III, okay?" Turning to domestic issues, Biden poked fun at all the Republicans who are now taking credit for projects created through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, including lawmakers who didn't vote for T. "Now it's true we got some Republican friends to help on the Infrastructure Act, but we're talking how many in the House? 13? 14? Biden asked. Lawmakers shouted 13. "I mean come on," Biden said. "I was happy for them, don't get me wrong, and every one of them got attacked. But have you noticed that every new bridge, every trench dug to take out lead pipes, every trench dug, Terry's a Republican standing there saying, 'This is a great thing, wonderful, we did it.' Even Mitch McConnell for God's sake," Biden added. Biden also continued to propose provisions that were included in the Build Back Better bill, which passed the House but died in the Senate in December, including child care costs being capped and climate change initiatives.